Hey y'all, how y'all doing? Y'all all right? Thank you for tuning into the Unhinged Show live. It's your girl Tilted Halo sitting alongside my good girlfriend Karen Sims and the lovely queen Miss Audrey Dindy Hightower. You already know what it is. We're going to have some wonderful conversation on tonight. As usual, I'm going to catch up with my girls because it's been a little bit, especially since one in particular was MIA a couple weeks ago. Oh, hey Audrey, how you doing? Welcome back. And of course, we are going to take some time to acknowledge all of the things that are being brought to our awareness, to the forefront of awareness in the month of October. And of course, we're going to laugh. So hang with us, all right? And for those of you who are catching us on the replay, I just want to welcome you to the Unhinged Show. Thank you for clicking like, clicking share. I want to go ahead and ask you, please, ma'am, please, sir, if you're enjoying what we're bringing to you here on the platform, head on over to YouTube and follow the YouTube channel. We are Unhinged Live. You're going to find us over there because you've heard me say it before. Facebook sometimes be a little janky with the algorithm, and there may come a point in time where we may just be singularly broadcasting from the YouTube channel. So go ahead, share the show. Tell your mama, cousin, and them. Because we brings the heat, we brings the joy tsunami, and we bring all the things here at the Unhinged Radio Show. So check it out. I want to go ahead and get into it. How you doing, my girlfriend Karen?
I am doing well. I feel like I did nap today. That's all I can say. I didn't have a nap, but I'm feeling refreshed enough, and we going to get into this. We got some good things to commemorate and glad to see all of the faces that we are seeing today. So,
Well, thank you very much, Miss Karen.
I feel like I need to kick it over. So, Miss Audrey,
yeah.
how are you?
Oh, listen, can y'all hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you just fine, lovely.
I have been doing amazing. Coming off of quite a few things, working, coaching, singing a little bit, just doing what I do. We'll get into that a little bit more later on.
Fabulously, of course. So yeah, check it out. Before we find out exactly what Audrey was doing at the casino for so long, I want to go ahead and bring you all's attention to some of the greatness that is going on from within the tribe. We've got a lot of things happening locally here in the Lehigh Valley area. And before we get into it, I want to give a huge shout out to our good sister friend, Shelby Lawson of Lawson Accessories. If you've been riding with us for any amount of time, you've heard me have a conversation with her on the radio show platform. But our sister is out here glowing all the way up. She recently served as the costume designer for the show that our sister Audrey was recently a part of. And she recently showed out, and did all of her thing at New York Fashion Week. So we just want to send Shelby a huge shout out of love. We are blessed to know you and to call you our friend. You are a woman of great faith. You are a woman of exceptional talent. And as our faith teaches us, the anointing flows from the head. Not only are you talented, your daughter clearly was taking notes, because the two of you have partnered even with the Dark Mist soap line. So shout out to you, Shelby. We look forward to seeing more of the great things you're bringing to the community. Yes, I'm giving you a huge shout out because you're going to be a part of a fashion show that's being hosted here locally. Lucky Rich Management is hosting a Halloween fashion show at the Iron Mule in Easton, Pennsylvania. And it's going to be featuring another one of our tribe mates, my boy Bliv Mash out of Reading, Pennsylvania. You know, he does that positive music. And yes, he's also a fashion model himself. So we're going to have music at that event. It's going to be hosted by the Cake Music Models. It's going to be featuring DJ Focus and DJ Stay G. Again, this is being held at the Iron Mule in Easton, Pennsylvania. Google it. We encourage y'all to attend Google University regularly to get all the information you need. So yes, there is a nominal fee for this event, but I promise you it's going to be worth every single dime. Showtime is at 6 p.m. General admission is $35 for adults, $10 for kids. And the designers, of course, feature Lawson Accessories. We got baby cakes being featured in this fashion show. We also have the lovely Miss Barbie Cologne and her fashions being featured. We also have Young and Focused and Bring On Child is small and okay. I can't see y'all. Can't see.
Google it and use your magnifier. Use your magnifier.
It's a flyer scroll, okay? Bliv Mash is all in the middle of it.
Oh my goodness, I can't.
It's behind the bars, y'all, okay?
I told y'all, come here to learn, laugh, and grow.
Yeah.
Look, listen, I told the ladies in off-air conversation, your girl need a nap. You know, I too am coming off of a whirlwind weekend. We also want to give a huge shout out to our another one of our sister girl tribe mates, Alicia Christine Beach. She is going to be hosting an on-site event, an in-studio workshop, Breathing for Joy, Writing to Release. She's hosting that on this Saturday afternoon, October 15th. And this class is going to be starting Saturday afternoon at 12 noon. And who is this class for? Anyone who needs a mental break, anyone who is grieving, anyone who wants a space to cry, anyone who wants to experience joy, anyone who feels lonely and needs to be heard, all those who want to strengthen their meditation and yoga practice, anyone who is trying to build community and find friends, anyone who needs a space to be and not do. The information is here in the group where you can go online and register for this beautiful event that our sister is hosting at the Yoga Loft of Bethlehem. So again, scroll on through the group. You know, we have no problem celebrating the greatness within our own community. And last, but certainly never, ever least, our sister, the beautiful Miss Jacint Headlam, is also hosting a free masterclass for creative writing. It's an empowerment circle as well. She is hosting her event via Zoom, October 9th. Excuse me, this was actually yesterday. All right. But again, she's still seeking those of you who are interested in taking advantage of the guidance she is offering. It's creative writing and empowerment with Jacint. Transform your pain to purpose through telling your stories. And she is there to coach you on how to write and publish your book in 30 days. So if you're interested in connecting with Jacint and Jacint Media Productions, Inna Star Productions, contact her at info@inna, INNASTAR.org. I promise you, we are bringing all of the empowerment from right here within the Unhinged radio show family. So again, I want to thank you all for tuning in to the Unhinged show live on tonight. I already told y'all I need a nap. And when I need a nap, sometimes things can go all the way left with some of the things that roll across my lips. So with that being said, want to go ahead and start questioning you again, girl. Where you been at?
So, I was in a production of my AFA, which was on October 1st and October 2nd. And I know the word is new and even the concept is new to a lot of people, but it was a concept which is telling the story of the Middle Passage for African American slave trade and the transatlantic African American slave trade. And it was a church, St. Paul's Community Church in Brooklyn, that started this probably like 25 years ago, where they have this. It's more like a conference for them. They do it every year. They've been doing it for every year. And the production has evolved. And so Sharon Brown, who is a professor at one of the colleges, I don't want to mess it up, here in the Lehigh Valley, was instrumental to bringing that production to the Lehigh Valley for the first time. So it was an amazing event to be a part of. One of the stage managers or assistant directors, I would say, was in the Color Purple. So that's how I found out about it. So when the Color Purple wrapped up in March, she had sent a notice out to everybody in the cast and crew saying, hey, y'all, this is what's coming up next. And so when I saw my offer, I was like, that's it. I want to be a part of that. Right. Has that ever happened to you? Like you just, without even really knowing too much about it, you just know you want to be connected to whatever that is. And so that's how I responded to it. And I auditioned, got cast, and it was an amazing experience. The church that we did it in was the Resurrected Life Community Church in Allentown, and they're probably going to do it every year, I would think. So it's going to evolve. The director, Kimberly Craig, she actually worked on this film, and she's been in movies, and she's been in theater and TV. Like, she's done it all. She gave everything that she had to this production. They were children, adults, they were African drummers, they were dancers, they were young people on stilts. It was singing, acting. It was awesome.
Now,
so
I have a question for you, Audrey.
Yeah, sure.
Did you try and get up on any of them stilts?
No, I wanted to, though. I really wanted to. When I saw it, I was like, oh, I just want to try it, right? But no, I wasn't up on the stilts. Thank you very much, Nikita. But they were awesome. I mean, you know how you see, if you can just picture how African dancers are really they were doing all the moves on the stilts. It was awesome. It was really, really amazing. My role when I entered into the play, I was a captive slave. So I came in, acting like a slave that was coming onto the ship. And so one of the things that Kimberly had us doing, and actually all of the stage managers, was going through these exercises that would get us out of ourselves, right? So that we can connect with one another. And from an actor's perspective, really begin to feel possibly what the slaves were feeling at that time, right? What were they going through? It was awesome experience.
Amazing. Just listening to it and thinking about how you would have to just change like everything you know about yourself to be able to kind of be in that physical space to perform. So powerful when you think about the storytelling, and most people don't know any thought about, oh yeah, we got here. What was that experience for the people who lived it, for our kinfolk who lived it? So very, very powerful.
No, it was Karen, because you'd be surprised. Well, you may not be, but some people would be surprised at how many of our people don't really know our story.
Mm-hmm.
And if they know it, it's on a very superficial, kind of like surface level, right? But to really read about what was going on. I mean, we know about the violations, we know about the rapes, right? You know about the slave ships, and you know about how everyone's like piled on top of each other. But when you really think about diseases, right? Rodents, rat, when you really think about, some of those slaves committed suicide because they just couldn't take it. They didn't want to live that life, right? Yeah. Some just couldn't survive it, or you being chained and linked to someone who's dead, right? I mean, the voyage was tough. It was really, really
Yeah.
tough. And when you think
Yeah.
about, that's where we all came from.
Mhm. Mhm.
Those strong people and what they had to endure just to have us, right, sit here and be
Yeah.
on the it's just, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. One of my favorite places to visit when I hit the DC metropolitan area, I actually like to go visit the Great Blacks and Wax Museum in Baltimore.
Mm,
Now, so many people don't really know about this hidden gem in that community. And one of my favorite things about that museum is they actually have a mock slave ship.
yeah, it's yep.
Yeah, and it really gives you a better bird's eye view. And it's not so pretty.
Mhm.
It's not, and that's the first. I know that museum. I've been to that museum many, many years ago.
Mhm.
And I think I mean, how can you not have that response when you walk into that little teeny room, right? Nikita, I don't know when last time you've been. It's been years since I was there, but
No,
I
I
was
go as often
amazed.
as I can. I think my last visit there was maybe 2 years ago before
Yeah,
the pandemic shut everything down.
Mhm.
yeah, yeah. But it's almost it's unfathomable to even think about the conditions that human beings were in,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
When you, and, you know, you see the sizing of it, it puts it
Mhm.
all in perspective.
Hmm. Hmm. I recently visited the Lorraine Motel in Memphis, Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
It is now the National Civil Rights Museum, and they start from the beginning when they start talking about the story and the impact that Martin Luther King made, and really talking about not just the slaves as slaves, but the people that they were when they were taken, when they
Yeah,
were
Exactly.
taken, and thinking about the commerce that was there, how much money was still available for the slave trade before the slave trade happened, and then it shows diagrams of how people were loaded in the ships, and so when you say like not just that people were chained together, but they couldn't stand up straight. Like this was, you
No.
only had space to be. And if you need to be on top of somebody, they did not care. The biggest thing on top of all of this is when we talk about the storytelling from our point of view, because oftentimes we're hearing it told from another point of view versus ours. We don't hear who they actually took, and so
Right.
one correction that somebody said to me, and I had to adopt that. It is not that they took slaves, because they didn't take slaves. They weren't slaves when they took them,
When they took
but
them.
but they enslaved people. And so when we say talk about whether our ancestors or just what happened, it is the enslaved people, because they enslaved them and brought them here. They weren't slaves when they got here. They wasn't slaves when they left their commerce and their businesses and their homes and doctors and lawyers and kings and all of the other titles that they had to diminish. But I think one of the things that is super important about this story that's coming through with Mayafa is not only to be able to spread the education, but also to dispel the miseducation that, because we never heard about this. But okay,
Right.
correct.
I know I'm representing all of us in this particular moment. We are of a particular age group called the Queen Ages, but in that bracket, we should have heard of something. Like
Right.
somebody should have said something, and there wasn't one word. There wasn't a thought about it. Like this history, even when I'm the age that I am, walking through this civil rights museum, seeing all of these things, we have those moments of so where was I what happened? What? Nobody ever says anything about all that was endured I shouldn't say nobody. Popular media says nothing about what that ordeal is. So super, super powerful. Glad to hear the storytelling. And I know we often have great opportunities. Even in our area, we are having an event that's coming up. Different, but has the similar mindset of being
Yeah.
able to sort of magnify our voices. So it literally is unmute your mic, giving you an opportunity to grab hold of the things that are important and push them forward. So love hearing about it and your
It's
personal experience.
it's so key. It's missing because it really makes you kind of sit back and think about when you talk about how you've never heard of it. Not even in my office story, just Black history in general, right? And
True.
who's telling the stories, right? If because you're not going to hear it in school, right? I know you guys have heard of the 1619 project, and they don't want to touch, they don't want to teach that in the schools. So the information is there.
Yeah.
It's widely, it's available. I don't want to say widely, it's available to us.
Mhm.
But that's why it's important for platforms like this, and even just having the communications, right, and those connections where we can share the story amongst one another. Well, did you know that this is what was going on? Did you know that William Penn Highway was named after such and such and such who owns, you know what I mean? Like, there's so much to unpack there. So
Yeah.
much.
And
Yeah.
knowing the history and knowing the contributions that are
Absolutely.
so wide within, like, our people and what we have brought to this entire nation, is so important. And so tilted while you mentioned the Black Wax Museum, to be able to take those moments in time and see all of that. I know one of my visits was to the Stax Record Museum, and that
Mm.
was the likes of Isaac Hayes and child. Listen, they had his turquoise Cadillac up in there with the honey. Now
Girl.
I get it. Chilling in the scene with the gangster lid. Ooh,
Ooh.
listen. He had 24-karat gold fenders and whatnot, grills that, honey, listen.
Listen, you ain't
When
said
we
nothing.
showed up, we showed up big. And when we understand the importance, and this is the thing that's super important for our communities, for our children, and even for us, because we get a pride that it doesn't puff up our head, it puffs up our heart to be like, we did that, okay?
We've been doing that.
We've been doing that. And so this ain't brand new for us, whether it's the struggle or not. We know how to put forth excellence. And that's a great reminder for wherever we show up for, whether we in the classroom, the boardroom,
Yep.
whether we, in the supermarket, wherever we are, we know we can show up with excellence. Why? Because we got more blueprints. Honey, our blueprint is so bad, they trying to hide it and erase it. That's
Come
when
Absolutely.
you know.
on. You gotta speak
Absolutely.
that truth. And,
You
and,
know,
and it's funny you mentioned that museum, because I was thinking, I'm giving a wonderful plug here for the Great Blacks and Wax Museum. I'm also giving a huge plug to the African American Cultural
Yes.
Museum, the Smithsonian Museum there in DC, that I've had the pleasure of visiting a number of different times. And you talking about the gangster lean car. I remember my initial experience going to the level in the Smithsonian and seeing the mothership. Come on now. They got the mothership. Parliament,
Lordy,
Funkadelic, it's all up in
the
there.
George in them. Okay.
Listen, I
Jordan.
completely lost my mind upon laying eyes on the mothership. Come on. I'm sorry.
But you know what? When Karen was talking about that we were not in we weren't slaves, right? We were enslaved when we came here to America. And there is a part of our history where we were enslaving our own people too in Africa,
Yeah.
right?
Girl,
But and so that was also part of the slave trade. Like, you had African Americans who were capturing their own people and then selling them to Europeans to be part of that voyage. So that happened. But when we think of slavery, that slavery wasn't what we were enduring in America.
Right.
Right? That was different. It was totally different. So there was a part when we were at rehearsal, and because we're doing this period piece and we shouldn't wear jewelry and earrings, like, we can't wear that stuff. So I'm thinking, well, we were kings and queens. We knew math. We knew how to read. We probably had big old gold necklaces.
we had all the gold. We had all the gold.
They probably stripped it all, right, when we were on our way to the ship. But
Really?
before then,
Before that time.
exactly, we had all that. We had all that. I went to. I also was at the Women That Are Loose Women's Conference in Atlanta for at the end of September. And while I was there, I went to the Martin Luther King historic sites
Mm.
and couldn't go to Ebenezer Church because they're renovating it, and couldn't go to his house because you had to have reserved it, and we didn't do all that. But we did go to the store that was next to the home where he was born, and I bought this book. It's a children's book, and the title of the children's book is "What If There Were No Black People?" And so I bought it. I bought it for my grandson because I plan on going through it with him. Because if you think about all the inventions, everything, it just ties back to what you're saying, Karen. All the contributions that African Americans have had. Like, if there weren't no Black people, you wouldn't have all these things. So it just ties back to the onus is on us as parents, grandparents, mothers, fathers, aunties, uncles, whatever, to teach our children, to teach the next generation, and to teach ourselves as adults as well. It's never too late. Like, some of this stuff I didn't grow, I didn't know. I'm learning now,
Mm-hmm.
and that's okay.
And that speaks volumes about the state of even education here in the country. So please, ma'am, please, sir, take up your cross, so to speak, and
Yes.
taking on the responsibility of making sure that your children know exactly who they are, exactly what blood it is that is pulsing through their veins. We are not a weak people. We are actually brilliant. And one of the lines from the production I was recently in basically says, "It is not our light. It is actually our light and not our darkness that most frightens us. We actually ask ourselves, who are we to be brilliant, talented, fabulous, gorgeous?" And, we follow that up with, actually, who are we not to be?
Come
Um,
on.
we have the responsibility to make sure that our children know everything that they are absolutely capable of, simply because of their ancestry.
Did you ladies see The Woman King?
Yes, there are so many layers to that.
Twice.
I was just, Karen. I was just getting ready to say I've only seen it once, but
I've seen it 3 times. So
I need to go back a second time. But when you were
Yes.
talking, Nikita, there was this one line. I actually put it in my phone when I was at the theater because it was so powerful. And this is not quote, but in the movie there was a line that said something like this. It was, "If you want to keep a people in chains, you must first convince them that they are meant to be bound." I was like, "Oh, let me."
Now, and I got that one the second time because it was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
And I know we'll talk more about that in some special things to come. But we have to be reminded that whether it is enslavement that we're talking about, or just every day living up under our destiny, this is literally, you gotta convince yourself first that you can't do it. Because imagine us being little kids. Okay, well, maybe my grandkids, honey, they will jump off the top of
They
a
don't care.
building
Exactly.
and
I can do anything.
and they think that listen, this ain't Encanto, okay? Ain't no flowers coming up to come catch you. You about to get a concussion. But you can't convince a kid that they not gonna get hurt until they actually have the experience. And so it's a lot when we think of how much do we have to uphold ourselves and our next generation to make sure that they never believe literally the hype that's out there that you are less than, or that you can't do it. And it reminds me of my youngest son, who is 6'4", and I promise, I think he's still growing. He might grow every time one of them kids come out. Anyway, and I remember I would say to him, like, don't you let nobody look down on you. And y'all know Lamont, he ain't studying none of that. He said, "Ma, I'm 6'4". Don't nobody look down on me.
Down- he looking down at everybody else.
He said, I'm looking while he looking down at me.
It's
He's like,
you.
nah, not nobody look down on me. I'm 6'4". Ain't nobody looking down on me. And I laugh because that's the way that he sees the world. It's like I don't know where you looking at from right there, but from way up here, the air is
The
clear.
air is different.
You ain't got none of this issues. And so
I don't have
I
them
let
kind of
other folks know
problems.
He
it's
got
my
he got
fault.
the eagle perspective.
That's
He
right,
got
literally. It's my fault when I'm sitting here trying to give him a life lesson. He like, Ma, you're gonna have to pass me with that one because that's not my testimony. And knowing, but being okay with that to say, from my view, that's not gonna happen. And no matter whether you 6'4" or 5'2", you still gotta have that amount of confidence to say that's not gonna rattle me. That's
yeah.
not gonna take me off my game for what it is that I need to do. But I'm always reminded of that. Like I thought I was telling him something, and he like, that's not happening over here.
You're like, what? Come again? Come again?
Come again. So check it out. Check it out. I want to thank those of you who are tuning in for tuning in to the Unhinged live show. Okay, we here and we finna talk about some more things.
Yes.
As I gave our sister Shelby a shout out, I want to go ahead and give a huge shout of love to our sister Kiana Cox Jones for her recent spiritual theater presentation of The Birthing Room. Our sister has an awesome testimony, and over the last 2 years, she has made it her life work to make sure that she heals from her own grief of losing her mother. And y'all have heard me throw her name out here in these internet streets for years. She is an amazing talent to the world, period, point blank. All right. She's an amazing mother. She's an amazing singer. She's an amazing writer. She's an amazing actress. The list of her accolades could go on and on. But one of my most favorite about my girlfriend is that she is a lover of God. And she makes sure that she exudes that in everything that she does. I want to take the time to say thank you to my sister for including me in that production. And again, shout out to Jacinthe Headlam, our sister Francilia Peters, and again, of course, Sister Kiana, for the powerful presentation we were able to bring forth at the Greater Shiloh Church this past weekend. I know it brought up some stuff in me as we were preparing. Kiana and I share the testimony of having lost our mothers the exact same year. I lost my mother a few months before she did. And having served in the position of being one of her armor bearers, I did not think it was coincident that God would send me through it immediately first to prepare me to help keep her uplifted as she began her grief and healing journey. Very, very powerful. Very, very powerful. And welcome back, kid. That's all I'm going to say to you, Kiana. Welcome back. And I look forward to you being able to bring that presentation to many, many demographics in the very, very near future. And I look forward to the many doors that this production will open for you. You're well celebrated, sis. You know, Miss Dream Girl. You truly are a dream, sis, and I appreciate you. For those of you who are not familiar with what spiritual theater is, it is literally therapy. Karen and Audrey, you both can attest to that because we've all worked with Kiana in some capacity in her productions. And I know, again, it's very healing every single time. And the purposefulness she uses when she writes those scripts, every word has a meaning and a purpose for being in the production. And I'm grateful for the words of appreciation I heard from folks after they saw the production and how they walked away encouraged. And they walked away with dreams and visions restored, no longer intent on walking around in imposter syndrome, no longer intent on walking around with being stagnant and bringing forth and birthing their life purpose. It's the birthing room, y'all. So if you can and will, go on the Instagram and follow Miss Kiana Cox Jones. She is I am KCJ. Sis is bad, y'all, and I promise you, she gonna bless your life. And not only will she bless your life, her children. Oh my goodness! Again, the anointing flows from the head.
Yes, child.
Every last one of her babies is gifted, just like their mama and their daddy. Shout out to James Jones.
Yes, King James.
King James, for always sharing your wife with so many of us. We really appreciate you. And that's pretty much all I have to say about that, because y'all know I could rant about that forever. But it was truly a blessing. And yes, some healing took place within me, even as I was working and preparing for that production. So what I want to do right now is take a quick break. We ain't gonna be gone long. Just want to advertise something real quick. We'll be right back with you. All right.
Y'all better do it.
Y'all already know what it is. It is the Prison Break Conference, brought to you by our very own sister, Zion the Voice. Y'all heard us talking with her here on the platform. Again, we're very excited that the Unhinged radio show has been invited to participate in this conference. And you never know how the Lord is going to show up through any of us as we be out here in these internet streets. If you saw the flyer, you see that this event is free. It's a 2-day conference being held online via Zoom, October 28th and 29th. Go ahead and follow the link. You've seen it posted in the group. You've seen it posted on our personal pages, both Karen and mine. Go ahead and register for the conference. Again, it's free 99. You ain't even got to leave your house. So what's better than that, especially with gas prices creeping back up the way they are? Oh, we have to, call on the Lord, because I watched gas prices increase 30 cents per gallon overnight. And there's whispers of a possible recession here in the good US of A. So again, it's a free conference, because first of all, salvation is free.
That part.
Let me go there first. And we want to make sure that you can get what you need out of this conference. You want to share a little bit more about what's getting ready to happen at the conference, Karen?
Absolutely. Thank you. One of the things that we had to understand is God is strategic in what it is that he's doing. And this is a strategic move just through the name Prison Break, because many of us have put ourselves in personal prisons and we haven't even identified that. Now, listen, if you don't know you're in prison, then you can't even sign up for the prison break. Like, you just going to sit there in what it is you're going through. We've got some dynamic speakers that are coming through. We've got the Hope Coach. We got more names you saw on the flyer. It is 2 days of power that is about to come at you right at the end of this month. Listen, the folks are preparing for the experience that's coming through, the creativity that's coming through, the positivity that'll be coming through. And, at least for Friday night, I know I'm going to have my warm fuzzy slippers, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to get equipped, because there are places that we need to go. There are things that we've been trying to do. And for all of the folks who are speaking, there are strategists that are there. There are life coaches. There are pastors and preachers who are coming in with a word. And more than anything else, every person is anointed for what it is they will be speaking on, to touch a heart, touch a life, and what change these things and turn them all the way around. Some of us have been in our spaces and trying to figure out, and we prayed the prayer, Lord, I don't know how I'm gonna get out of this. Now God is giving you the opportunity to get strategy. So don't miss it. You want to go and register so you don't miss. Why? Because you can have all the blueprints in the world. If you don't got the tools to build the building, you're still gonna be outside under a cardboard box. Come on now.
Come on.
Register and come through so that we can equip ourselves. Now is the perfect time for us to get ready for what it is we have expectation for the end of this final quarter of the year, and to set up and make some declarations and proclamations on what 2023 about to be. We claimed last year that 2022 was going to be year the double portion, and here we are. Now I need the double portion to show up in other places other than the gas pump, but we see it happening. It is happening. We just need to direct it on
where it need to go.
Double portion.
That part.
If we ain't learned nothing else, like double portion on, not on my rent, Lord, not on gas,
exactly,
Lord, not on groceries.
Not on my rent.
So if this didn't teach us nothing else, 2022 should teach us how to pray more specifically, because all of us got to pray through. We see in doubles, okay?
Yes.
I meant double in my salary. I meant double in the credit.
In my blessings.
That part,
double them dollars. Hey.
Double the dollars.
Double in my peace, okay? I did not
mean double in my joy. Yes.
Mine,
double in my
not the corporations. So
yes.
we're gonna come through with more prayer and be more specific with what it is. But again, you got to get the tools. If you're not in the house, you're gonna miss such an amazing opportunity to be blessed and to set your life up for what you are walking into right now.
Exactly.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
It's a lot.
Well, you know what? We a lot. And I think, we a lot. And in this time, we need to learn how to deal with ourselves, because we a lot. We think about all the things that we're dealing with, all the things that we're juggling. When we think about all the people that we're supporting, and if we think about all the businesses that we haven't birthed yet, Nikita.
Yes. Why you have to call me out like that, though?
Because I'm talking about the birthing room, right? Like the birthing room.
Shots fired.
Exactly. It's like all these gifts, talents, and abilities that God has placed in the side of us, and we are literally sitting on it. Like we're like the mama hens. We sitting on the eggs. Like what?
It's a lot of things being birthed. It's a lot of things being
birthed.
And birthed within us and around us. I'm absolutely blessed. And
I want to interrupt this regularly scheduled program to remind us, back in the day, these kids don't do it today, and I know my kids get on my nerves. But back in the day, after the baby got born, you didn't see the baby for a couple of weeks so that the baby could, do that. So I'm just declaring some of that some of these things have already been birthed, and we just waiting for the sip and see. So I'm waiting for the sip and see for
Listen.
For the sip and see. That's what I'm waiting for.
For the sip and see. When Nikita was talking about the birthing room with Kiana, it was so spot on, because you know how sometimes you see a movie and you hear the title, you read the title of the movie, you're like, I don't know if I want to do that, right? But when I saw the birthing room, it hit me right. The title alone had me. I was like, okay, this is something I need to be here. I need to be here to see what this is all about. And it was so packed with so many nuggets that just swept through the church and hit everybody exactly where they were. In a really short period of time. It was amazing. It was like a stealth bomb. And she just said, boom.
Wow.
In your face.
Love it. Awesome. Love it. So we scheduling sip and seeds real soon.
Yes, I like that.
Real soon. Sip and seeds real soon. That might be why I need a nap today, in all seriousness, Audrey. I tell you, I poured out.
Of course you did.
I poured out.
How could you not? There's no way you could be part of that, or any production, right? I mean, Cameron, you've been in production.
Yeah,
Isn't that the whole point, to give it all
it
you
is.
have, right? You lose yourself for the production. And
That's
Yeah.
that
right.
was deep.
It was really, really powerful. And I know in learning the script and really getting into it, I really took the time to reflect on my life, my faith walk with God. And, it hit me quick because there was nothing that was depicted in that presentation that I hadn't walked through.
Mm,
I told
Um,
you about my literal come to Jesus moment that I had yesterday. So it's just,
Yeah, and it was just an awesome reminder, that grace never left us.
that
right,
part. Come on.
right.
And we talked about that in the presentation. Grace never let us go.
Hmm.
And grace is here for us now, and it's always available. And I'm grateful that, I know personally, as do both of you and many of you who are tuning in, God is exactly who he says he is.
All the time.
Yes.
He is exactly who he says he is. And I would invite those of you who might be a little angry, walking around with a little bit of bitterness due to some past church hurt, let that go, and get into relationship with God. It's
Yep.
personal. It ain't got nothing to do with nobody else.
That part.
So, with that being said, I want to go ahead and move the ship right along, because we are celebrating quite a bit, or acknowledging quite a bit, in the month of October. Um,
Yes.
First conversation I want to bring to the forefront is that it is actually Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And those, y'all know what domestic violence is. There's people who experience different types of abuse within relationships, and those are not limited to just amorous relationships.
Right.
Domestic abuse can occur between parent-child, parent-parent, parent-grandparent, caregiver, so on and so forth. So I think it is very appropriate, especially now at this time of year. We're swiftly approaching the holiday season, where families are going to start getting together. And you might have to reconnect with some of your abusers. We're acknowledging that there is something out there. There is resources available to you, um, who may be suffering or dealing with any type of domestic violence. um, there is a domestic violence hotline that you all can call. But I was really curious when I was thinking domestic violence, and what are the statistics concerning this thing here? Because most people like to envision women as the only people who suffer domestic violence, and that is not true. Um, on average, nearly 20 people per minute are physically abused by an intimate
Mhm.
partner in the United States. During 1 year, this equates to more than 10 million men and women. 1 in 4 women and 1 in 9 men experience severe intimate partner physical violence, intimate partner contact, sexual violence, and or intimate partner stalking, with impacts such as injury, fearfulness, post-traumatic stress disorder, use of victim services, contraction of sexually transmitted diseases, etc. 1 in 3 women and 1 in 4 men have experienced some form of physical violence by an intimate partner. This includes a range of behaviors, including slapping, shoving, pushing, and in some cases might not be considered, domestic violence. 1 in 7 women and 1 in 25 men have been injured by an intimate partner. Um, and 1 in 10 women have been raped by an intimate partner. Yeah, it's getting real raw, because again, we like to tell the truth here at the show. I'm a truth teller.
Mhm.
Those of y'all
Yep.
who know me and my personal walk know I'm not going to bite my tongue when it comes to telling somebody the truth, because the truth itself makes us free. On a typical day, there are more than 20,000 phone calls placed to domestic violence hotlines nationwide. 19% of domestic violence involves a weapon. Women between the ages of 18 and 24 are the most commonly abused by an intimate partner. And only 34% of people who are injured by intimate partners actually receive medical care for their injuries. Now, the instances of domestic violence we're going to mention tonight, there's rape, there's stalking, there's homicide. Children are also victims of uh, domestic violence. 1 in 15 children are exposed to intimate partner violence each year. And 90% of these children are eyewitnesses to this violence. There is an economic impact in the communities because of the levels of domestic violence occurring. Physical and mental impact. And we're going to get into some mental health conversation in a moment, y'all. But yeah, let's be aware. If you see somebody wearing a Purple Heart this month, that's what it's representing. Maybe the person wearing that Purple Heart is, one, knows someone who's a survivor. Maybe they themselves are a survivor. And I want to go ahead and give a huge shout out to Elder Malachi Jones and the United Christian Fellowships, who will be participating in a domestic violence walk down in the Trenton area of New Jersey later on this month. Elder Jones's mother is a huge advocate for victims of domestic violence, and I'm grateful to be a part of this organization and have had conversations with her where she has shared her wisdom and her passion for the cause. Again, there is help available. Check it out. I'm waving my hand. I'm right here. Y'all know that's part of what I do for a living. I'm a walking resource center. So if you know someone and you're not able to go online and find the number, holla at your girl, right? I'll make sure you get the information. There are safe houses that are legitimately off the grid across the country that shelter men, women, children, as well as their pets. Because, a lot of times people have, established a family household and you got your little fur babies. Well, when you're fleeing your abusers, just know that there are some shelters that are taking you in with your pets so you don't have to separate your children from their fur family members. Do either of you ladies have anything to add to the conversation on domestic violence?
I was thinking while you were talking, and you covered so much, Nikita. Like, you just hit all the areas and firing off on all cylinders, because I know this is one of your areas where you are the what's the word I'm looking for? I'm want to say me, but the expert. That's not the word, but that's what I'm going to use right now.
Ambassador.
Yes, 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 yes. But when we do think of domestic violence, and we don't think about elder care, elderly people being abused. We don't think about that. Like you said, Nikita, it's mostly, you think about relationships, husband, but there are children, there are elderly people, and there are different aspects, right? There's verbal abuse, there's physical abuse, there's emotional abuse, there's all these different areas.
Financial abuse as well.
Yeah, financial abuse. There's all these different aspects and areas. So you do have people, not just women, men, who may not even realize they're being abused, right? Because if it's not physical and there are no marks,
well, that's the truth,
right? It's like,
yep. Some of the marks suffered from abuse are unseen. They
exactly.
truly are invisible, but they do manifest themselves as trauma responses.
Because it's still abuse, right?
Yeah, somewhere in the lives of the victims. So, you need to be able to recognize the signs. If you know that you're with someone who's normally jovial character, and you noticed that their light is not shining as bright, as usual, you might want to say, hey, my friend, are you okay? So check it out. What are the warning signs of an abuser? All right, because a lot of times we like to put on our rose-colored lenses when we're, especially when it comes to dating. All right, and we want to ignore certain things in a partner. There are telltale signs that this
Yep.
is someone who may not necessarily abuse you physically, but they may be the main one to cause you some soul trauma, some deep soul trauma.
Come through.
Absolutely.
Come through.
Some red flags and warnings and signs of an abuser can include and are not limited to extreme jealousy, possessiveness, unpredictability, a bad temper, cruelty to animals, verbal abuse, extremely controlling behavior, antiquated beliefs about roles of men and women in relationships, sabotage of birth control methods, or refusal to honor agreed upon methods, blaming the victim for for anything bad that happens, controls all the finances, abuse of other family members, children, and pets, control of what the victim wears and how they act, demeaning the victim either privately or publicly, embarrassment or humiliation of the victim in front of others, harassment of the victim at work. So, for anonymous and confidential help available 24/7, you can call the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1 800 799 7233. And that actually spells out SAFE, SAFE. Or you can call 1 800 787 3224. And I'm going to drop the mic on this conversation.
Thanks for that.
You're more than welcome. So, Karen, let's
Yeah.
let's have a chit chat about mental health awareness.
Listen, we just are coming off of the World Mental Health Day. And so huh, we need a whole day for it. But every year, with most of our national and international days, there's usually a theme. There's usually something that's coming out of it. And so, World Mental Health Day is marked every year on October 10th. Interesting day because we got a couple of things that go on that day. But it's specifically to raise awareness about mental health around the world. So not just here in the States, not just in another one place, but around the world, and to help mobilize efforts to support those experiencing mental health issues. And honey, honestly, that's all of us. The theme for this year, because of course they have a theme every year, is make mental health for all a global priority. See, the thing is that we've been acknowledging this day, I think, since 2013, that the day has been celebrated. But it's really interesting because we have to understand that because of the place that we're in, because of what we're doing, and this is celebrated not just here in the United States, but literally ambassadors of this day include the United Nations with events and activities organized every year around this month to help promote the importance of mental health and well-being for everybody. So not just, sometimes I know we had a day yesterday, and so we acknowledge it because during this day we also think of those who succumb to different things that bring a strain on your mental health. So when we think of either mental disorders or even what leads one to suicide, there are a lot of different things that come with it. And we used to laugh and joke about it because we could, but guess what? Now we're all in it. And so we all need resources. We all need a way to figure out how we come together. I know yesterday one of my LinkedIn posts was, dear employers, stop with the 3 visits. Because I think, most of our organizations and jobs, at least corporations, you get to have 3 visits with like a therapist or a mental health professional. But y'all know that if y'all uncover anything, it takes more than 3 visits to fix that, and making it more universal. So until we grab on to what this year's theme is kind of making global mental health provision a a priority. And we want to see that. Why? Because as we think about how many different ways mental health issues show up in our life, literally, it's not just the domestic violence and all of the numbers that we're seeing there. It's also showing up on jobs. It's the reason why we're in the Great Resignation in 2022. The reports say that in 2021, there were more than 48 million people that left their jobs for whatever
Yeah.
reason. Understand that if it was because the job was putting a strain on their mental health, or because they could not keep up with the demands of their everyday, they're still now in a different situation where we need to prioritize the mental health, but also make sure that we've got provisions. And so we often, of course, here at the Unhinged and with our Tilted Halo family, want to remind you, listen, open your mouth, say that you need something. And for those of you who know the signs, if you see something, say something. Reach out to somebody, share a moment, share a smile, something that even sometimes also, we're not going to get into our twisted threads moment, but you got to understand that you got to go outside of yourself sometimes to say, let me try to make somebody else feel happy. And that will feed you. So you get a double blessing for just trying to show up for somebody else. But with all of these things, and I know I'm going to get I know I got the amen corner here with our self-care strategist, Audrey. We got to take a moment for ourselves and to figure out what is it that I need to breathe, and also to identify those things that are stressing you out. Because sometimes we blame outside people when we just need to turn off the light, take a nap, drink the water, turn the phone off. Don't answer that call. Text only, get off that crazy site. These are some of the things that will kind of help us feed ourselves in a positive way. So we want to remind us, one, mental health awareness is not just for one day. Although we highlighted a lot of it yesterday, we want to make this a daily thing until it becomes a habit that you don't even have to think about it, because this is just what you do. So we want this ingrained in everything that you do. Anything else to input for World Mental Health Day?
I think just to piggyback on what you were saying, Karen, that even when you talk about our everyday life, it's not always, the sociopath or the narcissist or the multiple personality, the schizophrenia or the bipolar. Like, we have all those labels that we have, and we think, okay, that is mental health. Right. And we don't think about the times when, like when you said, when you're stressed, if you are uncomfortable, if you are overextended physically because you're overcommitting yourself to too many things, if you've overextended yourself financially, that's now put you in a place where you can't do the things that you want to do, if you sleep deprived, right? We have to think about, even temporarily. I know I've used it myself. There's certain things when I can just overextend. I'm like, wait a minute, you know what? This is not going to be good for my mental health. Every day, right? Think about those things. Make it personal to ourselves as we're reaching out, looking at other people, and we're looking for all the big signs. Look at the little signs, but not just in other people, but look at the little signs in yourself. How are you feeling? Do a check-in for yourself every day. What's going on with you? Are you feeling nervous? Can you do the tasks that are set before you? Maybe I agree with you, Karen. Shut the phone off. It's not that important.
I know that's right. And y'all know I'm the queen of shutting my phone off. I'm just going to put that out there. And I believe I did make a very public post on my regular Facebook page, issuing a very public apology to the people that, might have called and might have sent me a text and then give me a response. Hey, I had checked off the grid, because with the schedule I keep, it's necessary for me to do a digital detox, because with the implementation of all these digital devices and smartphones, people feel like they should have access to you 24/7, 365. And I know that is just not the case with your girl. I do monitor my digital health and well-being. Shout out to Samsung that sends me a weekly report that tells me exactly how much time I've spent using my phone in different aspects, whether I'm having a conversation, how many, I think one day Facebook was like, "Hey, you've been on here too long, girl. Put the phone down."
Yeah.
I get
We
messed.
don't realize that, but there's science that is attached to all of the social media and the alerts and the alarms and what it's actually doing. There's no coincidence that mental health issues are on the rise, coupled with social media, electronic devices, COVID. Like all these things are compounding, is creating the perfect storm. Right, for all of us, we all are like really, really close to just jumping off, not jumping off, but like losing it, right?
Don't
So
push us because we
yeah,
go to the edge.
yeah,
Yeah. Is that the universal theme song right now?
I think so.
I
Yes.
think so too.
and you don't even know. How do you even know? That's the problem. You don't even know. Like you think about, at least me, when I'm going to New York City, all the people just like pushing people off on a subway. Like,
Or we've got what the recent incident where the basketball player straight clocked the other one. Now he done put himself on a timeout. I don't know if it was him necessarily, if not the organization that sat him down for his outburst. But that came from someplace.
Yes.
That came
absolutely.
from something more than whatever was happening on that basketball court that day.
Yeah, people
You
are
know,
really in crisis, and some people are aware of it and they're getting help, and some people are just not. And let's not be remiss in talking about the Black community
Specifically.
specifically, and how we have our schisms and our preconceived notions about therapy, coaching, just talking to somebody, period. Even if it's a friend, I don't want to tell that person my business. I don't want, we have all of these generational teachings and big mama and grandma and mama and them in our heads. And we need to detox from that as well.
yeah, we really do. Because again, all we're doing is fostering the growth of these generational curses for
That's
generations to
right.
come. And
Absolutely.
and the buck really does need to stop with us being
Mhm.
brave and bold enough to say, "Hey, I have a therapist that I go see twice a week."
Or coach.
Or coach, yo,
That's
check it out.
right.
Listen,
Exactly.
To a partner.
I was telling somebody, I said, "Yo, I got about 5 coaches." They was
There
like, "You
you
got
go.
coaches?" I was like, "Yeah, I got a life coach. I got a goal coach. I got a relationship coach. I got a self-care strategist. All my friends, I'm blessed
That
to
part.
be in the midst of such greatness where no matter what I'm going through, I can pick up the phone and call Audrey and just spill my guts. And there is absolutely no judgment.
That's
But
right.
at the end of me spilling it, she's pouring in positivity. When I'm stressed out, when the vision ain't coming fast like I want it to, I can call Karen. And Karen would remind me that it don't matter that it ain't growing like, quick, quick, quick.
Right.
Everyday work is being done. And giving me the constant reminder to show myself grace. you know um and hey, somehow or another, y'all done told me I became the coach to the coaches. Makes no sense to me, but okay. I guess I'm the coach of common sense and reality. That
There
would be
you
it.
go. There you
We
go.
know what the world needs now is more.
Exactly.
Just saying.
I'm the common sense coach. Okay,
The
I'm the
more
real one.
that
That's it,
Which,
the
which
real
which
one.
which
Tilt the
ain't so
halo.
which ain't so common for some people, might I add. So
Yeah, and I
right.
mean, hey, every single day that I live, I am learning that more and more. But yeah, keep yourself surrounded. And right now, I'm actually in the process of researching free mental health resources to be able to
yeah.
give that type of referral information to folks, because people need it. And notice what I was sharing in my sharing. No judgment.
Yeah.
Make sure that whoever you're sitting up talking to is not a busybody, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Someone that is not going to, as you share your business, give you bitterness in return.
Mm-hmm.
But you're talking to someone who's going to help you lighten your load and giving you the skills to implement to make sure you grow past the moment, if that makes any sense.
So here's a question for you ladies,
What's
right?
up?
And this is for all those who are listening or listening on a replay. we too, as those who want to help, have to be um, aware and discerning, because not everybody wants help.
True. Can you say that again? Because I had to tell somebody that everybody, if they didn't ask you for the information, they don't necessarily want you to give it.
And some people who are asking, they don't really want the answer.
Well, that too.
And also understand that being a victim is not only a trauma response, it also is a learned behavior. Ooh,
Absolutely,
I'm gonna drop
yes.
the mic on that
Water
one.
on that.
Yes, yes. They don't
Some of
know
us,
any it
some folks want to be victims, and they're used to it. It's almost like saying you open the cage door
and they just
and you literally have the glaring lights for them to get out, calling them. You can come out now. You no, I'm gonna stay right here.
Because
I'm gonna
it's
it's
stay
like
right
coming.
Linus,
Oh,
it's like Linus's blanket.
here.
look. Hey, 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 hey. I got my blanket on my lap.
Exactly. But
My
that
comfort
blanket is not
blanket.
the, victim trauma,
Yeah,
shame. It's,
and
ugh,
it's not to say that it's not real, but literally, we would always hear this and we know it to be true. The person who says they can't are right. The person who says they can is right as well. And so what you
yeah,
believe about yourself, you will make all the necessary changes,
absolutely.
to get to whatever that next level is, even if it's just standing. Doesn't mean that, maybe the next win for you is not the big step, but just to stay, you know what, I'm a scoot over.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna scoot over. I ain't ready to stand, but right now I'm gonna scoot on over so that I can see some change in my life. And if we don't say nothing else, you don't have to be the victim. You do not have to be the victim in the
No.
story of your life that you are the author of.
Right. It's a choice.
It's a choice. And you, again, don't have to be a victim. You can walk in victory. So, with that being said, I want to go ahead and transition the show because this one might get a little bit heated. So, we're just going to go ahead and move this under the category of what's really going on.
Hmm.
What's really going
Oh,
on?
what is really going on?
Yeah. All right. So, as we were prepping for tonight's show, our sister Audrey just threw a monkey wrench all up in the system by sharing some of her thoughts, that may not necessarily be common amongst the folks about Indigenous People Day. So, with that being said, Audrey, take it away, sis. We want to talk about this thing. Okay, go ahead.
So let me tell y'all.
We getting up close and personal.
Let me tell you. So it all started yesterday. I was on my Facebook page and someone posted Happy IP Day. So I'm thinking, I'm like, IP? What is that? And then I just didn't, I ignored it. And then later on, I saw that Columbus Day is being changed in certain states and as Indigenous Peoples Day. And so I thought, okay, is that, I guess it's a good thing? Right? Like you kind of think like, is this a good thing? Is this not a good thing? So there are some states that have been celebrating it since I think Canada is like 1990s and late 90s, right? For in America, this is our second year. Biden wrote this into legislature. It's not a federal law yet, but and we haven't quite gotten rid of Columbus Day, so it comes alongside Columbus Day, I guess. Certain states they have gotten rid of Columbus Day and they replaced it with Indigenous Peoples Day. But I wanted to open a discussion for you ladies because I was thinking if I was an Indigenous person and would I want the day to be celebrated when Europeans came over and created havoc, caused genocide, colonization, took our resources, raped our women, mistreated our men, took our land, gave us nothing? Is that the day that I want acknowledged? Or is it, I'll just take whatever I can get? Like, I'd rather take this versus nothing.
So y'all know I'm gonna come through with a perspective.
Come through
Hmm.
perspective.
And so we also celebrated some Jewish holidays
Mm-hmm.
in the past couple of weeks. And a
Mm-hmm.
lot of times people come on, they be like, happy Rosh Hashanah or happy this, that. And not all of those holidays are happy days, but
Right.
they're days of observance,
Mm-hmm.
meaning it ain't a happy, because I think the last one has something to do with like forgiveness and fasting.
It's
They
a Yom
not
Kippur.
happy over there, they can't eat.
They
Stop
hungry.
it.
They hungry.
So it's a Jewish saying that you say that it's like, a blessed new year. Not, we happy y'all ain't eating over there. When I see Indigenous People Day, I would not say, well, and I probably have done this too, to say Happy Indigenous People Day. I think it is because we don't know another thing to say, but the
Right.
day itself is supposed to commemorate what happened. So it's one of those, in observance of all of the mess that you just said. um, we gonna take a day to say we should be thinking about not only how do we celebrate the resiliency of the tribal nations and how do I
Their
want to say,
contributions to our
all of
American
the
history.
contributions, but also acknowledge the violence that came against
Mm-hmm.
them in reference to this, and to push our efforts towards promoting dignity and justice and good faith among the tribal communities as a whole. Now, part of that is because I had read the White House proclamation.
I did.
I'll be smart, but I was like you, Audrey. I was like, wait, am I happy or sad? I don't
Exactly.
are
I'm
we ready to
confused,
fight?
is what
Because
I
some
am.
of these days we celebrate, like you said, it's not a federal holiday, the same way like Martin Luther King Day ain't celebrated everywhere. That means
Exactly.
you get a choice on whether you want to, challenge by choice. So if you want to celebrate, and it's funny to me because everybody down here fell in love with Juneteenth as soon as the president and the governor.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all ain't they taught nothing about no Juneteenth before. But now
All they
y'all
want
got
is
a
the
day
day off.
off, and everybody want to be black, past the watermelon and the barbecue. I said what I said.
But
It's
but
an
but
interesting thing. It's an interesting thing because at least take a moment to learn. Like that for me,
It's a
every
teachable moment, right?
yes, and to make sure that you are teachable. Because I promise you, and I say that at my place of employment, we found out that we were able to get the day off like 2 days before the holiday. Everybody took the day off.
Yeah.
Everybody,
Because of the day,
everybody,
yeah, it don't matter what
everybody,
you like. Do I
everybody.
even know what indigenous mean? But I'm
Everybody,
gonna take a
and,
day
and
off.
and my challenge to them was, I ain't got no problem with you taking the day off, but at least take a moment
to
to
know why
learn
you
the
at the house.
significance, to learn the significance of the day,
Well,
and
listen.
that's my
So,
only thing.
so
So
Karen, listen to
And,
this. So
and see now, here I come, okay? Because I'm part of the indigenous.
listen,
wait, Nikita, can you just park that 1 second?
Sure can. Go ahead.
So I'm coming off the heels of my offer, right? And so I hear this IP thing that popped up on my feed for Facebook, and I'm looking at that. So I was like, were they slaves on the Nina and the Pinta and the Santa?
Well.
I'm
Audrey.
still doing some
a
research.
production coming soon to a theater near you.
What?
Okay,
Like
No,
what
all
yeah,
was
right.
yeah,
no
the
that's
Phoenix
what's
Sun, that's
really
not
going
comedy.
on. I'm
It was
like,
some
what's really
slaves.
going on? What was
It
really
was some
going on those ships?
chambermaids and things, but that's a whole nother conversation
That
going
Okay,
on.
I'm
part.
done. I'm done, Nikita. Go ahead.
I'm part of the indigenous nation and Cherokee to be exact. It's
Me
all up in my
too.
blood. Yes. And I, every now and again, I usually I haven't been posting everything I do in my personal world because it ain't everybody's business. Y'all know I posted that song, Keep Your Business Off Facebook. Everything ain't to be televised
Right,
or
right,
posted.
right.
But how I personally feel about Indigenous Peoples Day being acknowledged alongside Columbus Day, I'm not for it. Simply because I know my heritage and I make a conscious effort to reconnect with my own community in the spring, most favorably, that are happening here in the state of New Jersey. And then there is the Native American Museum there up in the Pocono Mountains. in Pennsylvania. There's a lot of information available to people that you just don't know. So notice I say I attend the powwows. I go to the powwows in those who really uphold the culture of in the heritage. We get to see the native dress, and we get to hear the stories of the forefathers that came through and had to live through the genocide and such that happened when them folks hopped off them boats and came over here and brought chaos. Um, I don't necessarily appreciate the two being lumped right there together. There are other ways to learn and highlight the indigenous culture. And notice I said Columbus because the only Christopher that I'm trying to acknowledge is Wallace. Shout out to Biggie. Baby. All right. But to truly know and embrace the strength of the culture.
Yeah.
Because African American people are not the only people that have suffered. We often make reference to the Black and brown communities. The indigenous are yet another sect of the brown community that often gets dismissed and overlooked. Now, most people tend to dismiss that our Mexican brothers and sisters are the indigenous as well. All right, they're very indigenous. And if you see the work ethic in the community, the resourcefulness in the community, the spirit of family in the community that is fostered day in and day out, it has been minimized to a joke in some areas. And, I've heard people crack jokes. It was like, it's 20 Mexican people living in a house. But that's true community. They're really surviving.
Yeah.
They my Mexican brothers and sisters don't have a problem doing that backbreaking work. Working out in the fields, picking our avocados, picking our oranges, picking our fruits, leaving the fields at the end of the day, even in this current day and age, with their hands bleeding from doing work that most Americans, turn their noses up at. Know the heritage. Understand that the indigenous are a proud people. And understand that they too have brought so much to the United States of America and its culture. Shout out to Texas. There's a huge indigenous community there.
Yep.
Shout out to Arizona. Shout out to my girl Valentina. That's my peoples down there in Arizona. She is an indigenous queen, and she legit goes back to the reservation. Had worked on the reservation for years, helping her people with the education she was blessed to be able to receive and going to college. She came back to give back. So yeah, I don't do the Columbus Day thing. I'm indigenous every day. I'm Black every day. I'm loved by God every day, and I'm gonna leave it at that.
And that's a lot to leave it on. We shout out to our Latinx, Hispanic. It's Hispanic History Month still.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm rocking out anyway. But I second what you said, Tilted, in reference to how households and communities operate in different cultures, and we may not understand it, but it's for a reason. It's for a reason. And so I think that it's important for us to take the moments to learn, to have those teachable moments to learn. Why is it 20 of them in there? It's a reason for that. It's not just because they all want to live together, but that speaks to community. It speaks to how finances operate that way. I watched a show, and I can't remember the young lady's last name, but she's been in movies, and she's got a show somewhere on cable. It's called It's Me, Jaleesa. And she's a Hispanic Latina young lady who had been on the radio and in television and in commercials, and talked about how growing up, she didn't really know about finance. She didn't know that, but she knew the family traditions on this. What we do, we stack our paper, we save, and then teaching folks, or teaching people in your respective communities, what does investment look like? How do I save but spend appropriately? How do I not just name tag run, and those type of things. So knowing that, and she said, I feel guilty. And that was the part that really stuck with me, that of her feeling guilty because she's investing in something versus how they were taught up. You save your money, you buy a house, everybody go into that house, then y'all all save y'all money, and then that person gets a house, and it keeps on going, it keeps on going. How? Why? So you low key create generational wealth while ain't nobody watching. They thinking y'all over there. They thinking y'all over there like, why they all up in there? Because they about to buy the whole block. That's why.
That's why. Why they eating beans and rice every day? Because they finna buy the whole block.
Them bodegas is not no money. It take money to be running them things and to have those businesses. And so that takes strategy. And while we looking at the superficial part of, well, you need to have your own and you need to have your own, honey, they done bought up the whole block and got 5 different family stores and trying to figure out how they are able to survive in a nation that is not kind to them either. So shout out, brothers and sisters. Listen, we've been celebrating and rocking with y'all all year long. So we observe these days and these months and these holidays, but we know that there's still much more to do. I know under the really going on, did we have something else for our really going on? Tonight going.
Yeah, well, this one is one that I wanted to touch on a couple weeks back. Okay. I kind of let it go. So I'm a little, I like to try and stay current. But I think it's a relevant conversation. Can we talk about this daggone NyQuil chicken?
What?
NyQuil chicken.
Is it a TikTok trend?
NyQuil chicken?
No, you be
Is it
on
a TikTok thing?
Well, more recently, the FDA had to issue a warning against people preparing their chicken basically marinated in NyQuil.
It's a challenge, stay off
of the TikTok-orations.
I was gonna say
stay off of TikTok, because what in the world?
I was gonna say that sounds like a TikTok thing, but
that's a TikTok thing. And people are this mad video, because I had to go look. I just could not take it. So
do you marinate the chicken in NyQuil while you're wearing heels walking on milk crates?
Girl, you hilarious. Love it. No, girl, they what they doing is cook your chicken, it'll help you sleep better. No. You could just take a shot after capping the NyQuil. Why you gotta marinate your chicken in it? And what the FDA brought to the forefront is the danger of them doing this with the NyQuil chicken. It basically intensifies the toxicity and whatever the cook-up is in the NyQuil that makes you go to sleep, and it can actually be very, very dangerous to you to consume it at that concentrated level.
See, yes, girl. You know what? We just got finished talking about the mental health segment, right?
Yes.
Who is thinking who's sitting down saying, I think I'll go pour some
cup. If you take you a cup of some chamomile or peppermint tea, listen, take you some hot water, get you some chamomile, sit down somewhere. You gonna kill it, literally. Don't be stupid.
How about shut your phone off? Shut your phone off.
Get off.
Put your phone down. Put your phone down.
Because it's on TikTok and about 100 million people tried it. That don't mean you need to try it too.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Them people in the hospital. See, you only see the challenge. You don't see the after. They in the hospital.
Well, you know what? It goes with the women who are getting these BBLs, right? You see these women with these huge round butts. You don't see the ones where they almost died. Their butts are falling off because the tissue is black because they didn't went someplace where it's not safe. You don't hear about that side.
Well, K. Michelle actually is
yes, she did
about that.
Yeah,
bringing that
should.
because of her own experience with that.
Yeah, but how you gonna age with a BBL? Like, how you gonna look when you 70 and 80
They're
with a
gonna
BBL?
look really crazy. And think about some of the things they are injecting into your hind parts in the BBL.
Exactly. We're gonna have a whole bunch of senior citizens walking about these big mouths.
All the junk in the trunk.
And all the grandpas gonna be falling over because they ain't gonna be able to do nothing anyway. Okay. You know, I just told you something about that because I need for us to believe that we are beautiful in the current form. Listen, ain't no shame. If you want to go get a couple of shots or something, that's fine. But think about where all of this started. You know, when we think about the celebrities who no longer look like themselves, or some of the celebrities who are now twins because now y'all all going to the same cosmetic surgery doctor. Y'all was beautiful before. Now we just don't know who you are. Wait, who is that? That's the formerly,
Kim. My
that's
bad.
the artist formerly known as, because that's who y'all are right now. We can't know. So for our regular folks, listen, I know you want to get a little tuck snip. Just think about the further repercussions of, Lord have mercy. I can't
It's
even.
the I'm not enough culture.
Oh my goodness. Please stop. Because guess what? For the wrong people, you never gonna be enough. It don't matter how much surgery you get. You still gonna have to go back and snip something, add something.
But who's the wrong person? The wrong person is themselves, right? Like, you are never going to be. It's never going to be enough. It's like a drug. I'm told, because I never did it, right? But
now all this right here natural. Shout out to my mama and dad cooking me up the right way.
And all of us have thought, I'm gonna go and get a nip tuck, or let me get some lipo. Listen.
Listen, I'm gonna tell y'all, if I ever hit a lottery
or win at the casino,
or what? Well, you know what, AP, you watching this? You done started some stuff. I don't go to the casino.
You got that casino money, don't you, Audrey?
Listen, let it be enough. Let it be enough. I'm telling you, I'm going to get something lifted. That's what I'm saying.
Lifted. Okay.
Yeah, and I'm getting something tucked. How about that?
That's what I'm saying.
So lifted and tucked. That's what I'm saying. Listen, I'm trying to donate some things to people. I got enough to donate.
Okay? Child, listen. I wonder, is there a such thing as a butt-ectomy where I can donate some of this?
Somebody's looking for this.
Probably, absolutely.
What is traveling behind me? I know somebody looking for it. They like, if I could only, if I could only.
Listen, we laughing, but when you go someplace and get but you don't know where they're taking it from. It could be from somebody who got it reduced and they go, let me just. And they ain't there for permission.
This cornbread, this is collard greens. This is homegrown over here, praise God.
This goes back to the Marietta Lex conversation, right?
Right? Girl, people don't know about that. You already know.
Used her cells, curing cancer to this very day, ain't tell her nothing.
That's why we don't get sick easy, because we blessed in the hind part area.
Literally, some of us.
We blessed. And we walking around very, very well. So thank you, ladies.
Coming in and going out.
Exactly.
Coming and going. Yes, God. Anyway, thank you all for tuning in to the Unhinged show live. This has been a very insightful conversation with my Qurl queens on tonight. We are sitting here unhinged, sitting alongside my good girlfriend Karen Sims and the beautiful Miss Audrey Dindy Hightower. We done went a little bit over time tonight, but I'm not going to, get up off of this thing without allowing my girl to do what she do best. Drop them wisdom nuggets. So come through, Karen Ann Sims of Twisted Threads, with this week's reflection of purpose.
Listen, we appreciate the opportunity to be here. And as always, I try to give a nugget. We get a title. The time is well spent. That's today's title. The time is well spent. We want to remind us we're at the end of the last quarter, and I keep saying it because listen, we got to treat this like this is the fourth quarter in the Super Bowl, and it literally is life or death. We got one play, we got four quarters, but we got 20 minutes, whatever it is, to turn this thing around, and we want to make sure that as we are thinking about what are the goals that we've set for ourselves? What do we want our life to look like tomorrow? Well, your life is going to look like a culmination of the decisions that you make today. The time is well spent. That means we ain't got time. Final call, that's what they call it at the bar. The altar call is what they call it at the church. Funny thing, like it's still this your last chance. Okay, Donna Summer said, last chance
Last
for
dance.
romance, the last dance, whatever you want to call it. Honey, the time is well spent, and we don't have the opportunity, especially our mature brothers and sisters, to be sitting on the sidelines waiting for things to happen. We have the ability. Today, we talked about the strength that came from many people. We didn't just talk about African American, we talked about indigenous people, we talked about Hispanic, Latinx family. Listen, this is all of us. We've got greatness inside of us, and some of us know the history, some of us have been taught half the history. Find out the history in your DNA. Find out what the ancestry is that you're walking around in this earth, and be great right where you are. Make sure you set out a plan, because a lot of times I talk and I don't always give homework. Tonight you're going to have homework. Tonight homework is sit down somewhere and write down what you hope your tomorrow is going to look like. Sit down and write it down. And then once you take that thing and pray on it, and not tonight, maybe not tomorrow, but by the end of this week, start mapping out what it's going to take to get you there. So you don't like your job and you want a new job? Well, give me a call. You need to go through your resume building. Let's do that. If you need to get you one of the life coaches that Tilted mentioned, get you in connection with people who are going to help you, not just strategize, but to be able to help you what? Right? The vision. Now, here's the part about making it plain. Making it plain mean if I want to lose 10 pounds, I got to stop buying the cookies.
Hey,
So, point one, stop buying the cookies. I know, shots fired. I'm sorry. Stop buying the cookies. They not in the house, and then you don't have to eat them. If you have a financial goal, find you a financial planner. And finally, the time is well spent. I don't know where this came from, but it dropped in my spirit. If you ain't got no life insurance, go get the life insurance, because we ain't frying no chicken to bury you. So we need you to have your life insurance policy. So if something happened to you, your family is taken care of, and we do not have to talk about you behind your back about this GoFundMe that we need to do. The time is well spent. We still got years on here. Although we think of life insurance as death conversation, it is actually setting up for what you want the tomorrow to be for the people who you call your loved ones. Do the same for yourself. Write down a plan for your life and then execute it. We love y'all. Tilted,
you
how
already
you
know
gonna
what
close
it
it?
is. You already know what it is. I'm going to let y'all go with this week's Just Be. But what I'm going to encourage you to be tonight is to just be kind. You know, as we discussed earlier in the show, that we are a global community that legitimately is living on the edge. So I'm going to encourage you to just be kind. We're in this thing together, and I promise you a little bit of kindness goes a long way. And your one act of kindness could actually save someone's life. So compliment that woman in the beautiful dress. If her shoes are the bomb, make sure you let her know. And if that brother's waves is so deep and sea sickening that you get nauseous on observation, let him know that his waves are doing exactly what he set them to do. Be kind. It costs you nothing. It's your girl Tilted Halo, Karen Sims of Twisted Threads, and Audrey Dindy Hightower of You Break with Audrey. It is the Unhinged Show Live. And ladies, I believe that is a wrap. And we are out.